I have spent a lot of time writing about the advantages to the shorthand writer of using a beautiful, flexible fountain pen full of fresh, juicy ink, flowing smoothly like oil from a well, in an endless river of precious black gold. I have conceded the merits of using a pencil, and how it need not be the poor relation of the pens. In fact, I passed all my shorthand exams up to 150 words a minute, using a pencil, or at least a succession of them over the months, swapping one for another that seemed to perform better. Not being able to get hold of a shorthand pen is therefore no barrier to shorthand success. I have tried to see the benefits and drawbacks from every angle, and have done my best to recall the performance of every writing implement that I have ever used for shorthand, starting with the cheapest of cheap pencils from the corner shop, on to a clutch pencil, and then finally acquiring a Senator shorthand pen in the mid-1970s. At that time I also tried several other pens, but the Senator was the best, with the gold nib being the most flexible and comfortable. I now use the Noodler's pens for most of the website outlines, but stick to the Senator for my occasional real-life shorthand writing. Last weekend I found that all of my warnings about carelessness with writing instruments came back home to roost, and I relived the frustrations of using the wrong pencil. I went to a boot fair with my family at a local farm. In the UK, a boot fair is where people turn up at the venue in their cars, full of items they wish to sell, either from clear-outs at home, or maybe things they collect for the purpose, in order to make a small profit, and a few regular traders as well. They set up tables in front of the boot or trunk of their car, and people like me wander round looking over the offerings for bargains and rummaging in the boxes. I was really only looking for garden plants, and maybe casting an eye over the old books, and so I knew I would be back at the car before the others. I always take something to do or read and so I took my iPod, a notepad and some pencils, to take down some of my own dictations. I can't let everyone else work through them without having a go myself. I started on an easy speed and was soon covering the page at a comfortable rate. The pencil was a bit too hard, and the outlines were very faint. I stopped the recording and changed to the softer pencil. That made a darker, more legible mark, but it was rather blunt, and very soon the wood at the tip was touching the paper. I stopped the recording again and grabbed the nylon-tipped pen, which is one that can take a fountain pen ink cartridge, which I refill from a syringe with my favourite ink. It barely gives thicks and thins, but I was not concerned about that on this occasion. After a page and a half, it became drier and drier, and faded to nothing as it gave up its last drop of ink. These 3 were the only implements I had in the bag. I delved into the depths of the handbag pocket for the half-size mechanical pencil that I keep there. Although the lead was extremely thin, all went well, and the outlines were pleasingly legible. I felt that with care I could avoid a break, although I knew that shorthand should be about robust writing and not fussing over the pen or pencil. Then, with a sudden, faint, cracking noise, the tiny piece of visible lead went flying away into the air, and I had to advance the lead and miss out a chunk of words. With my 4th implement proving less than perfect, certain uncomfortable words began to form slowly in my mind. This is what you tell everyone else not to do. I began to wonder why I did not just bring my usual shorthand fountain pen with its dark ink that I can see clearly on the page, an ink supply that will not run out unexpectedly, as there is a window where I can check its level, and a nib that can stand up to writing the thinnest and thickest of strokes without any problem. I spent the remaining 10 minutes of waiting time persevering with the mechanical pencil, but if it had been a fast dictation, then I would certainly have had to use the first pencil, as faint lines are merely annoying, but it would at least have continued writing for many more pages than the other 3. Obviously, I was not treating the dictation as I would advise others to do. I should have continued with the first pencil until it wore down, and then done the same with all the others, even though it was only practice. I had brought bread, but wanted cake. The shorthand pens were sitting at home, crowded together in their mug, asking themselves why I had left them behind in a stuffy room, and had not taken them on an outing into the fresh air, and given them a taste of working outside in the pleasant countryside. When I arrived home, they were all standing in a row, frowning and looking at me reproachfully, saying, "We told you so. Serves you right." I accepted their reprimand and promised I would never do it again, and that if a hard pencil was all I had, I would keep going all the way to the bell sound at the end of the dictation. They accepted my apology, and I hurriedly sneaked out into the garden to get the new plants in and recover my composure, and leave any further shorthand adventures until the evening.